one and only Mr. Steve DeAngelo, Executive Director of Harborside Health Center.
We're gathered here in Oakland today with a very simple ask, and that is for President Obama to make sure that the actions of the U.S. attorneys in California and in the rest of the country are consistent with the administration policy as articulated by Attorney General Holder in sworn testimony before the U.S. Congress just a few weeks ago. Attorney General Holder said that his organization would only target medical cannabis individuals and organizations that were acting out of compliance with state law. We believe that that is not happening today. The Harborside Health Center is not only 100% compliant with all local regulations and the state law, we have set the gold standard for the distribution of medical cannabis. The best way for the President to ensure that the actions of the U.S. attorneys are consistent with administration policy is to have an immediate freeze on all such enforcement actions against medical cannabis organizations until the highest levels of the Department of Justice can review those actions and determine that they are consistent with administration policy not to target organizations that are in compliance with state law. Now, cannabis people have had to learn how to turn tragedy into triumph, and we are going to do it this time again. This is a watershed moment for our movement. We know that if the U.S. attorneys are allowed to come after an organization like Harborside, no other dispensaries are going to be safe anywhere in the country. It's time for us now to stand, and I'm very happy to see that we all are standing. We've sent a message, are sending a message to the President today that I believe that will be too loud and too powerful for him to ignore.
Next, a gentleman that you're all very familiar with, the California Director for Americans for Safe Access, to discuss the impact on patients. That's what this is really all about. Please help me welcome Duncan.
Thank you, Dale. Good afternoon. My name is Duncan, D-O-N, last name D-U-N-C-A-N. I'm the California Director of Americans for Safe Access. We're the nation's leading medical cannabis patients advocacy organization, and I'm very proud to stand here today in solidarity with Harborside Health Center here at Oaksterdam University, two victims of the federal crackdown on medical cannabis. And in fact, this federal crackdown is perhaps the broadest and most serious that we've seen since California voters approved medical cannabis back in 1996. We're seeing paramilitary-style raids, like we saw right here at Oaksterdam University. We're seeing intimidation in the financial sector, denial of legitimate financial services, IRS audits, denial of gun ownership rights, a very broad attack on medical cannabis. And so it's no surprise that we see property owners of prominent, respectable facilities like Harborside Health Center become the latest victims in a federal attack on medical cannabis. And let's be clear about what's happening. An attack on a patient's access is an attack on a medical cannabis patient. You cannot separate the two. To say that we're only attacking businesses and not people is a false presentation. An attack on the access of patients is an attack on the patients themselves. And we must always remember, as these stories are played out in the media and in the courts, and in the court of public opinion especially, that it is legal patients and they're qualified primary caregivers who comprise our collectives and cooperatives. Harborside Health Center may be a very big organization, but it's not just an organization on paper. It's an organization of people, of patients and primary caregivers who are going to suffer. The large majority of medical cannabis patients in the state of California, indeed the large majority here in the city of Oakland, rely on collectives and cooperatives like Harborside Health Center for the medicine they need to treat the symptoms of cancer, HIV/AIDS, multiple sclerosis, chronic pain, and other very serious conditions. And when we shut down patients' access, we are attacking patients. And so I hope this administration knows in this election year that when they attack the access patients need, whether that be an attack through the back door through banking services in the IRS, an attack through the front door like what happened here at Oaksterdam University, or an attack on the property owners like is happening with Harborside Health Center. These are all attacks on medical cannabis patients, and those are the people that the voters of California sought to protect when they approved Proposition 215. Those are the people that our legislature sought to protect when they adopted the Medical Marijuana Program Act. And those are the people that this administration should be thinking about as we move closer and closer to November. Because if this administration wants the support and the enthusiasm of our people, they're going to have to stop attacking medical cannabis patients. Thank you very much.
And speaking of the patients, we really do need to bring this home. The lady to my left, your right, was directly affected by the raid on Oaksterdam. Richard's school used to donate our student garden to Yvonne, and she is a multiple sclerosis patient. She doesn't have a way to necessarily go out and get a job and earn a living, and she depended on our student garden for her medicine. And I'd like her to tell you her story herself. Please welcome Yvonne Westbrook-White.
I have multiple sclerosis, and I've been smoking cannabis for many years. It has helped me live a somewhat normal life. If I take the pharmaceuticals that my doctors prescribe, I don't feel like getting out of bed. I can get out of bed and have a couple of tokes, and I feel like doing something today. I wouldn't have made it down here today if I didn't have cannabis. When the feds came in and stole the medication, that was mine that they took. So I've been having the most difficult time keeping my medication out. And I appeal to our president to please keep your promise and leave the patients alone. This is not a drug, it's a medicine, and it's a medicine that is greatly needed by a lot of people. It solves so many more problems than the pharmaceuticals do. So please, President Obama, show some compassion and understand that we as patients need this cannabis in order to maintain a good lifestyle.
Thank you, Yvonne. And we talk about the children. What about the children? Well, let's talk about a child that's directly impacted by this crackdown. I'd like to next introduce you. I'm getting upset just thinking about what you're going to say. Jason and Jaden, his son. Please welcome Jason David.
My name is Jason David, Jasondavid. My son Jaden David, Jayden, has Dravet syndrome. Dravet, one more time, Dravet syndrome is spelled D-R-A-V-E-T, okay? My son has one of the most rare, catastrophic, life-threatening epilepsies out there. And I have a question for Mr. Obama. You have two beautiful daughters, and I want to answer this time. I need an answer. Harborside, the medical marijuana facility that takes care of my son's needs, you guys are trying to shut it down. What am I going to do after that? Am I going to go to the street where they don't test it? Because it's not normal marijuana, we're just smoking and doing anything like that. It comes to real science. We use a CBD tincture, this non-psychoactive. It saved my son's life. My son used to have a seizure every single day of his life. He's had 300 to 500 myoclonic seizures a day. He's taken 300 shots of Valium. If it was your daughters, Mr. Obama, what would you do? That's what I want to know. Please help me save my son. Help out the medical marijuana community. Everything you said before the election turned out to be a lie. I want to know the truth. I want an answer. Because what are we going to do to help my son out? He's been in the ambulance 45 times. Since I gave him medical marijuana, he hasn't been in the ambulance once. Try not to get emotional, because it does get emotional when you see your son suffer every single day. If you guys check out the new Weed War Chronicles video we did this weekend and see what the difference of my son is, you'll see a shock. I got him down from 22 pills a day down to 4. He's functioning, he's running, he's happy, he's playing, he's not suffering all day, crying, screaming at the top of his lungs because of the withdrawals from the medications or the side effects or the ODing, you know. His life has changed. I have a son, I'm getting him back, and we're almost there. I took him to church this Sunday. Everyone was coming up to me in shock and awe. Wow, you're right. God did give us this plan. Look what's happening. Your son it's a miracle. His eyes are open. He's walking. He's not falling at church. He's not having a seizure all day at church. You're not running him out church to go to the car because he's about to have a seizure. You're pumping him full of meds. 22 pills a day. I used to wake up every single morning, run downstairs, shove 10 pills in his mouth fast as possible before he can go into a seizure, try to keep him occupied so he doesn't go into one. Wait about an hour and a half till they kick in, and then he's lethargic and he's just stuck like that. Now look at him now. He's sitting there. When I tell him, come give me a kiss, he'll come give me a kiss. Everyone that walks in the door in my house, he runs up to him, gives him hugs and kisses. He loves everyone. He's becoming a human being. He's not a zombie anymore. He's human. So my question to you, Mr. Obama, please, if your daughter's had the same epilepsy as my son did, look it up. Tell me, what would you do? Would you be fighting for this cause and to keep Harborside open? Because they're the only ones that know what's going on. Please, we do the testing there. We get it tested for chemicals, other chemical properties, not just that, the ratios. It's all about the science. This is a plant. One more time, I want to mention, this is a plant, not chemicals. You know, the funny thing is, we're doing raids on places like this. One time I went to, this is a true story, I went to Walgreens to pick up my son's pharmaceutical drugs. When I was picking it up, some guy came up to me, ran up to me. He was like, hey, oh my gosh, what do you have in the bag? What do you have in the bag? I said, I have my son's anti-epileptic drugs. Why? What's going on? He goes, I need Norco right now. I need Norco. I need Vicodin. I need something. The Walgreens won't give it to me because it's not after midnight. I can't fill my prescription. I need it right now. That's who you guys need to go after, the real drugs. 106,000 people die a year from pharmaceutical drugs. In the last 2,000 years, there's never been one recorded death from marijuana. So please, you're going after the wrong drug factories, right? Don't forget, Mr. Obama, I want an answer.
And that sums up why we're here today. We're gathered to address the multi-pronged federal crackdown on small tax-paying businesses who are providers of medical marijuana to patients like these. Federal resources are wasted on a failed policy while these cities, our leaders, are begging for help with gun violence. So I stand with these patients and with the victims of violent crime today. As a mother, I demand that our Justice Department shift its priority, start going after these gun violence, child predators, human traffickers, crimes against others. Cannabis will continue to be bought and sold. This will not change. What will change is whether or not it's tested and who profits. Violent gangs don't pay taxes. They don't care whether or not your kids are educated or how old they are when they sell them something, nor do they care what is sold. Shutting down these dispensaries, including the largest ones, will take resources and tax dollars from schools and law enforcement. And frankly, with 25% unemployment, continuing the drug war and enforcing these Jim Crow laws on communities of color are not helping the current economic development situation. 108 jobs put out of work a couple months ago, and almost all of them are now on food stamps and government care. People that were paying taxes in are now having to take out. California needs these good jobs with health benefits this industry brings and the tax dollars to help save our schools. We have an opportunity to have safer communities if we choose to control, regulate, tax medical cannabis, cannabis for adults. We have millions in tax dollars. Harborside was the #2 tax revenue producer for the city of Oakland. Berkeley Patients Group was the #2 tax provider for the city of Berkeley. This is going to undercut jobs and emergency services. Obama keeps talking about investment in our future, education, investment in our children. President Obama, I ask you to stop lying to our children. Let's protect our children by being honest with them. President Obama, we ask you to please end this federal folly and evolve your policy on medical cannabis.
Keep your promise. Obama, keep your promise. Obama, keep your promise. Thank you. Obama, keep your promise. Obama, keep your